What is going on, guys? My name is Wheelman, and today I wanted to talk about something that I think is becoming and has been becoming more of a prevalent issue in the ever-changing landscape that is YouTube and many other interactive internet forums, or forums on which, not just literal forums, but anywhere on the internet in which content is created and people can kind of talk back and give feedback, and specifically in places like the YouTube comments section, which I'm sure many of you have noticed is especially virulent these days in terms of arguments. I mean, it's impossible or nearly impossible to find a comment section that's not filled with someone's trolling. At least somebody is just trolling, trying to get people angry because they think that's funny just for the sake of doing it. There are other people who don't get it and try to fight it, and that ends up just feeding the person who's trolling, essentially. There's always the person who has something controversial to say because they think stirring other people up is funny. There are always the people who attack with some stupid, ridiculous opinion about something, and it often is something completely unrelated. And it's behind this guise of anonymity. And kind of tied to this is the idea of haters. And I'm doing air quotes right now because I should say right off the bat that this is the idea of haters, as it's always described, is not something that I take seriously, and here's my reasoning behind that. To begin with, you're putting content, let's say you make content, let's say you're me or any other YouTuber, or it's not even just restricted to YouTube, but let's just use that as an example. You're somebody who creates content, let's say gaming content, for instance, and you put out what you put out, and you do so with the full knowledge that you are putting your work out there for criticism, whether it's positive, negative, critiquing, whether it's neutral, whether it gets no response at all, which is often the case. And what you have to make sure before you do that is that you really are, and more than just on a level of just telling yourself, yeah, I'm okay with it, whatever, you really actually have to make sure that you're okay with whatever responses people are going to throw at you. And there's sort of a fine, well, I want to say it's a fine line. It's not that fine a line. I think it's a pretty clearly defined line. It's just something that a lot of people don't understand, especially a lot of, and I don't mean to take a jab at anybody here, but I think especially a lot of younger people who are, young adolescents, like 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, in that age range, maybe like 11 or 12 to 14, are a lot of the instigators in these scenarios, and their criticisms on various forms of entertainment, media, content, have sparked this sort of initiative, or if not an initiative, at least a trend, which I think is carried through a few different facets of pop culture, to, as a content creator, sort of block out any and all negative critique or criticisms as a reaction to that. And I think that's equally bad. That's swinging way too far the other way, because what that does is it means you're not taking legitimate negative criticisms in and taking them to heart and figuring out what it is that you can do better as someone who creates media, who creates content. Just labeling anyone who says something on your video that's not a thumbs up and a subscription and a great job comment as someone who is a hater, quote unquote, is really not productive for anyone. It's what it does is it takes some of the legitimacy out of the people who really do have something that's maybe not positive with regard to that specific video, that specific piece of content, but could be encouraging you to improve for next time, even if it's not directly evident. So for instance, if I comment on a video, somebody's gaming video, commentary or whatever, and I commented, how about playing something other than Battlefield? Say it was a channel that doesn't describe itself necessarily as an all Battlefield channel, but they've been playing a lot of that particular game lately, and I, as a viewer who follows that channel, would like to see some more variety, maybe something that's not Battlefield. Even if it is a channel that describes itself as, we play mostly Battlefield here, that's legitimate feedback to say, even if it's worded not in, not a way that's super sugar-coated. And again, to be clear, I'm not saying that there's a difference between what I'm saying and, fucking Battlefield's gay, go kill yourself. That's the kind of comment response that I think has largely spurred on this reaction of just labeling everyone who has anything vaguely negative to say as a hater, because that's a comment that isn't constructive. That's equally not helping anyone. Saying that is, besides being stupid and offensive, it's not telling the creator, hey, if you did this other thing, I might be more interested. But at the same time, if you are commenting and just saying something like, why not play something that's not Battlefield? And if those are your words verbatim, then that's a constructive criticism. I, as a content creator, have what I view as a responsibility to take that critique or that piece of information that, hey, this particular viewer likes games besides Battlefield and maybe wants to see something else, and I can either respond to that with, well, I'm really into Battlefield right now, and that's what I'm going to be playing for the next month or two, so either stick around if you'd like to, or check back in a couple months. Or I can say, okay, some of my viewers, or at least one of my viewers, doesn't like the Battlefield videos so much, or he or she does, but maybe wants to see something else right now, because there are a lot of Battlefield videos up, and I can experiment with other games and see how my audience reacts to that. But labeling that person as, well, you're just a hater, you don't like Battlefield, or even if it's not about whether the person likes the game or not, because they didn't say they didn't like the game in the comment, they just said, why not play something else? Labeling that person as a hater, or, telling them that their criticism is invalid purely because it's not completely supportive in that moment is not helping anyone, and really you're cheating yourself as a content creator because you're not allowing yourself to become better based off of what the audience who you are producing content for is telling you directly. That's your best line. That is the finger on the pulse of what your audience wants to see. So those are my thoughts on that. Let me know in the comment section, honestly, please, if you have any thoughts on what they are, and if you are somebody who likes to comment on videos, or you maybe used to like to comment on videos and doesn't anymore. And I would say one final thought is that, just as an idea for YouTube, and I know YouTube will never do this because it's part of the major social aspects of the website unless they completely change up the format of how YouTube works, is I would like to be able to see, honestly, the comment section to be disabled per user as you see fit. So, say in my YouTube settings, my account settings, I can click a thing that says hide comment section by default, just generally on every video. And that would be great. And it could be unchecked by default. I could show by, the default setting for that could be to view the comments and have them open. But if I want to go in and check that in my settings, I think I should be able to. Now, I know that's never going to happen because that would take down a lot of the interaction on YouTube. But I think it's gotten to that point, and I don't think it's a fault with YouTube. I think the fact that I feel like that's necessary is indicative of kind of a core problem with a lot of the YouTube user base who likes to comment and leave these sort of comments that aren't constructive, and then a lot of the content creators who follow behind and react in a way that's also not beneficial to anyone. So please let me know in the comments what you think, and other than that, I would like to thank you for watching, and have an awesome day.